Welcome to Time Savers Shorts. You've got just enough time to sit back, neck a cup of tea and enjoy these tips, brought to you by Joe Parry from Windermere St Anne's School.
Student absence can be a real time waster, so dealing with this effectively is really going to save you. Now, sometimes it's not that the student is actually absent from school. Sometimes they're at a match, a netball match, or maybe a music practice, or have gone to see the nurse. You've got to play catch-up, but what about using a mid-plenary technique? Get another student to explain what's gone on, and then you're killing two birds with one stone. You're getting the information across to the late pupil, but you're also ascertaining whether the rest of your class are understanding what's going on. Keep a file for every class that you teach, and then any worksheets you give out. When you identify an absent student, pop their name on the top of the worksheet, put it in the file. You know exactly where it is, and you're not wasting time scrabbling for pieces of paper on their return. In fact, not your responsibility. If they know where the file is, they can go and get it, and you can explain what's gone on. To have a master sheet of what you cover in each lesson is really useful. I quite like it on the wall of my laboratory. Just briefly saying what I've done in each lesson is of great value. That way students can come and say, it was the lesson about so-and-so, and you can explain to them what has gone on. But something I've trialled recently is plenary sheets. Now, this is when you're doing your plenary, one of the students has responsibility of filling in this sheet, which says what's gone on in the lesson and what we achieved, but also any preps or worksheets that were given out. That way, stick it in the absence file. It's there and waiting for the child on their return. If you're lucky enough to have a great IT system with a superb intranet, you might have web pages to use. If you have got a subject web page, then just publish your lesson plans, your worksheets and any preps onto that. Then guess what? It's the student's responsibility to catch up after absence and not yours.
Whenever a parent asks for permission for their child to be absent, I have a draft letter on my computer which I email out to them, so that saves me a great deal of time.
Well, Les, congratulations. You've become a dad for the first time, end of last month.
Yeah.
Now, I know you took some of your, not all of, but some of your paternity leave. So what sort of things did you have in mind when you were setting the work for the students that you were leaving behind?
Well, I made sure for the year groups where they had, big exams coming up, and like year 11 and year 13, that they had work that still coincided with what they had to do, but they already knew what they had to get on with.
I think that's a key tip. I think to introduce new material when you're absent is a mistake. I think you end up teaching it again. Yeah. And actually, to use that time when you're absent, especially with exam classes, as review time, because you're going to have to do that with them anyway, is a really good skill, and you're not going to waste your time, their time, or the time of whoever is substituting for you.
Definitely. For example, year 11, prior to me going on paternity leave, I'd created a checklist of certain deadlines they had to have met when I come back. And any teacher that comes in to cover my lessons, they will be aware that the pupils will know exactly what they have to get on with.
Yeah. My biggie, and especially being a chemist, is, and teaching mainly exam classes, is I can come back after having to be absent and I end up with shed loads of marking. And I talked long and hard to a colleague of mine about this, and I think I'm quite precious about my marking. I like to see the kids work, etc. But I've been using a lot, especially with my exam classes, peer assessments. So actually, they'll have done an exam paper, and then the following lesson when I'm back there, I'm giving them the mark scheme, and they're marking it in conjunction with the mark scheme. They're learning what the examiners want from them. And actually, it's worked beautifully. I don't think you should do it all the time, but I think it's actually been really useful to the students because they know what an examiner is looking for, and it's taken them a lot further than me actually marking the work. So no guilt there, because they've achieved far, far more in that.